Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It is March 31st, 2014, the last day of March. It's a Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. This here in front of you is a 5-year weekly chart of the S&P 500 ETF, the Spiders. The SPY is the ticker, just in case you didn't know that. You can see the move up from 2009, pullback. There's the debt downgrade. And then once Abe Shinzo, or Shinzo Abe, as I like to call him, over in Japan, said, hey, we're going to keep a 2% inflation target and print to get us out of the rut that they've been in over in Japan. Yeah, just a short-term run. Prices have really kind of flattened out. It's been difficult to spot a top. So I'm looking from a short-term perspective. I think we've topped here a little bit short-term. You can see consolidation. I think we're going to move back down to this 174 level. We've had really a difficult time over the last couple trading sessions where we gap up, which is what we're seeing right now. We're up here at this level, 186, and then we pull back late in the day. Seemingly, everyone's all giddy in the morning, but when, everyone comes to their senses later on, maybe, that hangover is gone, or they start selling stocks. So we'll see if that pattern continues. I'm in some bearish positions for this move down this week. The question for me is, and what I got to be thinking about, and that's why this video is going to be a little shorter than normal, is when do I cut my losses? If we start moving up, we hit this 187 level, I got to start thinking about just hey, you know what? Take whatever's left in my bearish positions and just sit on my hands. Or do I just sit on my hands knowing that this bearish topping pattern is going to resolve in the short term to the downside? So the difficult dilemma. Or do I hop in and say, all right, sell my bearish position, let me go long because I think we're going to break out to new all-time highs. And needless to say, after all of these pullbacks, we're really close to new all-time highs in the stock market. Call me crazy. Not a lot of earnings this week, but I think what's really going to move the markets is we have on, I think it's April 3rd, we have the ECB coming out saying possibly that they're going to promote negative interest rates, which is bullish for equities and bearish for the rest of, for your children and your grandchildren and everybody else in Europe. Same with all the printing of money that's been going on. And then we have Chinese PMI on Tuesday, which has been bearish for stocks. But of course, anything bearish for stocks is never bearish for long until people figure out the PMI means that the Chinese need to utilize their own monetary policy to augment asset prices and growth. Oh, we've heard that story before. So that's the chart of the S&P 500 ETF. This is my perspective. I think we're going to pull back to the 173 level. Might be a difficult trade in the short term, but when it happens, it's going to be fast and furious. Let's go to VXX, which is a bearish short term. This is not good for stocks. Some sort of a small short term head and shoulders pattern. We held up on support on Friday, but right now we're down at about this level here, which would imply weakness. And who would have thought there'd be weakness for this chart in the stock VXX? Look at this. This is all split adjusted, but the highs here are about $7,500, and now it's down to 43. Anyone shorting this market or buying puts should be in a straitjacket. You shouldn't be allowed to trade anymore. Anyway, they took my straitjacket off because I wouldn't be able to do this video otherwise. Let's look at BTH. BTH, look at this, just beautiful, holding. And if you drew, let me see if I can. Yeah, just drew a little horizontal a trend line here. You can see from a longer term perspective, and you bring this chart up, and you're like, well, I'm looking for a move to 1250. Okay, and you can look from previous levels here. $15 is probably more likely, and then 1750. But if you look from a long term perspective, we're like little ants down here. We're like little pieces of sand on a massive beach. A move to 1250 wouldn't even really register on this long-term chart. A move to 40 would. Needless to say, I love this chart for upside. I love the calls that I'm in, and I think they're going to be worth a lot more than I bought them for. And we got time on it. This is the best part. We got the April option expiration, so we got time. We got a couple weeks left. It's going to be great. Same thing. I was talking about it earlier this year. I talked about BTH 5 below. I said down here, I said 5 below is a great buy. I bought the calls, and the rest is history. Look at it. I said it was going to hit $45. Came pretty close. Actually, it was pre-market on the earnings report, and from a longer-term perspective, looks like it's going to go even higher. Same with Big Lots. Big Lots, when it was at $26, nobody was talking about the stock. Everyone was bearish, downgraded. Blah, blah, blah. Now, and look at it. It's up 40% since I mentioned it. Talked about it as a buy in 2014, a chart to watch. And now we have this morning, the chart's up 40% over the last 2 months. Analyst comes out and says, well, we're upgrading the stock. Well, brilliant, you rocket scientist. Upgrading the stock, put a $46 price target on it. So guess what? Option millionaires again, just like we were with Netflix at $53. Early. I'd rather be early than be buying up here. So anyway, see the same thing with BTH. BTH is the same thing. We're moving up to the upside. We're going to hit $12.50 and then possibly move up to $15 in the short term. And we're early. We were early. Early. I'd rather be early than late. A couple more charts here. Baidu. Baidu analyst came out this morning, talked bullishly about the stock, said it was heading to 220, a very compelling stock for upside. So I'm hoping Baidu opens at about the 152 max, and I'll be getting some calls here. The chart looks very bearish though from the longer term. If it's a 5-year weekly chart, doesn't matter. We can still come up to this 170 level, and we'll see what happens from there. Same with Sina. Analyst came out, upgraded the stock. Not Suba, Sina. And Sina has been contained in this against this resistance here in this wedge and breaking down. Looked like it was going to head to 45. Now looks like the bleeding is done. Let's see how badly it was oversold. It wasn't so terribly over. It's pretty oversold, but it's not in that area where you'd be looking to get into position. But it looks like we're going to get a reversal of this candle that we saw last week and get us back over the $60 range. So not a lot of earnings this week. Talked about Tesla. Let's go to Tesla. I talked about this on Friday. We coming up against support here. Look at that wick. We're over the 212 level. Love this for upside. I love it for a breakout to the upside. So I might be getting into some Tesla calls today. Apple continues to meander along here, waiting for that sharp, violent move to the upside. That I think's awaiting it. I thought it was going to happen last week. It did. We hit, 548 or something before pulling back. Got into the calls, sold them for a profit. Google, another chart. Look at this candle on the downside. It's kind of like, oh, no. Whoa, no. Are we going to get another big red candle downside? If we do, look for this support line here. This goes back to the Abe Shinzo low in November 2012. That would be a 1075 level, something like that. And we're at 1120. That's a $50, 3.5% move to the downside. And one last chart is Hewlett-Packard, which has stepped into the 3D business. And look at it, the stock go. This is a 5-day chart. But look, from a 9-month daily perspective, off the lows here at 20, it's up to 33. So it's an over 50% move. Get some of these lines out of here. So this is going to be an interesting stock to look at going forward. You can see it's kind of getting up against resistance here. Are we going to pull back, or is this, DDD? I know there's a lot more shares outstanding, and the stocks really has a lot more room to go to recover some of the losses it's seen since it hit its highs back in 2010. All right, UPB here, optionmillionaires.com. I'll let you know if we get into any trades via private Twitter at the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. And everyone have a great, solid, fabulous trading session. I'll see you later. Bye.